Post, welcome to our Thursday evening meditation and spiritual practice group. And we are at the Thursday before Purim. And most of us are familiar with Purim as a kid's holiday, right? A holiday that's about fun and zaniness and dressing up and eating hamantaschen. And all of that is true. But what most people are not aware of is that Purim occupies a very significant place in our mystical tradition. That the story of Purim, some of us are familiar, have all kinds of very adult implications about good and evil and power, political power, and all kinds of themes that are important to us. But it also has a very deep inner meaning, and that's what I'm hoping that our meditation will be able to gather around. One of the things before we launch into Purim is to say that this Shabbat has a special status. It's called Shabbat Zachor. Zachor means to remember, and Shabbat Zachor is one of the four special Shabbatot leading up to Passover. So it's almost as if the rabbis looked and said, in order to prepare for the festival of freedom, and when we talk about freedom, we're talking not just about physical freedom for all people, but we're also talking about inner freedom, freedom to be present with God, because that's really what Moses asked Pharaoh to, he said, let the Israelites go so that they can worship God. And in fact, initially he just said, let them go for 3 days out into the desert to worship. That's it. So Passover is this freedom to be present with God. And then each of these Shabbatot that line up to them are each one preparing us in an inner way for that freedom. And those special Shabbatot are marked with a special Torah reading, in addition to the regular weekly Torah reading, and also a special reading from the prophets that bring up that theme. So Shabbat Zachor is the second of those four special Shabbatot. And it's specifically, in addition to preparing for Passover, it also is deeply linked to Purim. Shabbat Zachor is always the Shabbat that's right before Purim. It gets into the calendar that way. And specifically, Shabbat Zachor is about remember Amalek. Remember the people who attacked the Israelites as they were leaving Egypt, specifically the weak, and the way that the rabbis also look at Amalek is one of the main purposes of Amalek was not only to try to attack the weak among Israel, but right now in the eyes of the world and in the eyes of the Israelites themselves, they were on such a high from leaving Egypt, from being freed. And there was really a sense of the special relationship that God had with the people of Israel. And Amalek comes along to attack, to kind of say, you're not so invincible. And part of what from the rabbi's point of view, was that it really allowed people an incredible experience of doubt. Amalek, in fact, the gematria, each Hebrew letter has a numerical value. So each word has a number. And the amount, when you spell out Amalek, it's 240. And the word for doubt, safek, is also 240. So the rabbis really link that this presence of Amalek, of evil, is also connected to doubt, to disconnection, to a sense that there isn't a bigger purpose. It's all random, and you're not so special. So Amalek, great grandson, is Haman, right? Haman. Haman is part of that same presence of evil that same stream of Amalek, and is really this embodiment of doubt, of of futility. And so as we start to prepare for Purim, the Shabbat before Purim, Shabbat Zachor, says, remember what Amalek did to you. Do not forget. Do not um, do not be unconscious to the presence of doubt within you. If you want to really be in deep relationship with God, if you want to open to the miracle of creation that is present in every moment, you need to be able to not be overrun by doubt. You need to be open. You need to connect. So part of our meditation that we do each time we sit is being open to the moment, is being open to possibility. And the way that we are open to possibility is to realize that what we are perceiving moment by moment is not all there is. It's only whatever our level of perception is. But there's an acknowledgement that there are deeper and deeper levels of presence, of reality, of meaning in each moment. Another theme that Purim brings out of this is even in the heroine's name, Esther, right? The Hebrew of Esther is, the root is connected to the word that means hidden. Esther also means hidden. So that's a theme of Purim, is even with Esther, is God's presence is hidden in the Megillah. In fact, the Megillah, one of the reasons why there was so much controversy of whether the Megillah, the book of Esther, should be part of the Hebrew canon. The rabbis really argued about this. Should this be part of the Hebrew Bible? Part of the reason that some said no, because God's name is not even mentioned in the Megillah at all. It's hidden. And that we see that salvation and presence and miracle happens even when it's not completely apparent, right? So that sense of hiddenness, of being able to relate to each moment from an openness that I'm not perceiving everything that is, but I'm open to more, is a key theme in our meditation. We also know that when we talk about the Megillah, Megillat Esther, Megillah means scroll, but it's also part of the Hebrew root megaleh, which means to reveal. So Megillat Esther actually means the revealing of the hidden, the revealing of the hidden. So much of Purim is about opening up to the God presence that is hidden. And how do we do that? Well, one of the main pieces that the Talmud takes, that the rabbis take, and you can approach this and interpret this however you want. I'll give one of them, is that on Purim, one should become so inebriated that they cannot tell the difference between blessed Mordechai and cursed Haman. Now, for most of us, getting that inebriated so that we cannot see straight does not sound appealing in any way. But really, I think that the sense, at least where this brings in the mystical tradition, is that there is a place in consciousness where we transcend duality. And that's really what the instruction is. It's not so much about how much alcohol you consume, but on Purim, can we open to and reach for the place that is able to perceive all of it as God, all of it? That it's not me as being separate from you, as being separate from this, and seeing reality in all this fragmented part, but instead being able to open to and reach for that God, that awareness of God's presence in everything, so that really, even in what appears to us as just annoying or difficult or uncomfortable, that Haman presence, we can still shake our groggers and boo, because we know that there is a presence that's behind it, a bigger context that it's coming to. A lot of us right now are so concerned, rightfully so, about the reality of anti-Semitism in the world. And what do we do on Purim? Purim, that whole like booing Haman's name and shaking the groggers and having fun with a very serious, I mean, Haman was the anti-Semite, and yet we're not feeling heavy about it. We're partying, with it, because our perspective on the story sees that there is a larger context. And of course, the larger context is not where we're passive observers that just say it's all God. In the story, Mordecai, Esther, everybody acts, everybody is a player in the whole story. Nobody sits on their tushies and just lets something all happen. But when we zoom out and experience the story, we are able to celebrate and rejoice and have fun because God is present in it all. Okay, so let's get comfortable into a position that we can sit for a period of time without moving too much. And we'll start with a nigun, a melody. I, 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 ay, ay, da. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Let yourself settle into your body, feeling the pull of gravity on your body, creating the pressure that you feel from the chair in your bottom, the weight of the bottom of your feet on the floor, the way your arms hang out of your shoulder sockets, and the resting place of your hands. Notice how you extend just the slightest bit of effort to keep your spine straight, not rigid, soft, but straight, even as the pull of gravity pulls the vertebrae together. You notice the length between the bottom of your spine and the top of your head. Feeling yourself in this body. Noticing the movement of breath as it enters through your nostrils, your mouth, the way the body expands to make room for the inhale, and that moment where the inhale switches over to an exhale, noticing the body's contraction, chest, belly, as the air leaves the body, and then noticing again the movement of inhale at the end of the exhale, feeling the body expand again. Purim is about experiencing the ever presence of the Holy One through the body. On Yom Kippur, we experience that infinite presence through transcending the body, through leaving it behind, through not focusing on it, through the practice of the fast. And the sages teach that Yom HaKippurim really means a day like Purim. Yom Kippur is a day like Purim. It's a day where we experience the oneness, the presence of God in everything, like Purim, except through transcending the body. But Purim, out of my flesh, I experience God. I feel the alive presence in every cell. I notice the aliveness, the energy that fills the air around me and is expressed in every cell within me. And even as I perceive my body and breath, moment by moment, I know that my perception, my experience of this moment is only the surface of the depth of presence that is here. At the same time that we notice that we are with what is unfolding moment by moment, we are also open to the depth in everything, the depth in our breath, the depth in the sensations in our body. That every part of our experience that from normal consciousness we experience as separate, distinct expressions of creation, we open to the depth that unites everything as an expression of the one. Without end, Ein Sof, without end. Let go of concepts about what each moment is. Let all sense of boundary and lines and form dissolve into the one presence that sings through everything. I'm going to be quiet for a period of time. I invite you to be present moment by moment with breath and body, and to also be open to the deepest depth of each part of our experience that connects it all. To be open to what is hidden. And in that opening, to let all concept, boundary, lines dissolve. And let pure awareness move out in every direction. Welcome back. Or maybe we never left. We just went a little deeper. Anything anybody would like to share? Questions, comments in this sacred space together? Well, I think maybe that might be the good place to end. And just the silence and the presence. I think that's good in the spirit of Purim because it's also beyond words. Words can divide and break down things into small parts, but the silence connects. Thanks, everybody.
Thank